Here to talk about the border and the top issues this legislative session is our Governor Greg Abbott. And Governor, thank you for joining us today. We appreciate you being here.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Governor, are you willing to have Texas, in fact, pay for part of President Trump's border wall?
Well, you know, I talked about reimbursement. The whole problem here is getting the money for the wall. But listen, the real problem that we're all grappling with is Texas still has a very porous border, and something has to be done about it. And I'll tell you the problem we're dealing with, and that is Congress will not step up and do its job to provide funding for this. Whether it's a border wall, a border fence, more Border Patrol agents. Understand this, as we speak here right now, Texas has lost hundreds of Border Patrol agents who used to be here helping take care of our border. And so the federal government has to finally do what it's supposed to do, and that is step up and secure our border. And until that happens, you're going to see all different types of solutions offered up. The only one that's really going to work is for Congress to do its job.
But Governor, are you willing to allow part of the state budget to pay for the border wall?
Well, this is what I'm telling you, because it said if reimbursed by the federal government, and understand the federal government doesn't have the money to pay for it. And so it's a hypothetical with no conclusion, because the whole problem we're dealing with right now is the federal government is not stepping up and funding border security. And so it's a circular argument because we're all just waiting around for the federal government and Congress to do its job to appropriate funding to secure our border and our state.
Right. Okay. Well, thank you, Governor. And switching now to the agenda for this upcoming legislative session, or the one that's just beginning, school finance and property tax reform, again, at the very top of the list. So, Governor, how do you see the state paying for public education while keeping a commitment to reducing property taxes? How can we make that math work?
Well, we've been going through the numbers of the revenues the state has been receiving. And we've identified funding to make sure that we will be able to both curtail and reform property taxes in the state of Texas, as well as increase teacher pay, especially paying more money to the best teachers who are providing the greatest results for students in our schools, as well as address the challenges of the teacher retirement system.
But how? How does that work? How do you reduce one and increase the other?
Oh, you don't reduce one and increase the other. What you're doing is, in the property tax reform, an aspect of what's going to happen is that the Robin Hood recapture payments that are made by some school districts are going to be reduced. The state is going to step up and make payment for that. At the same time, the state is going to step up and add additional funding for schools, for teachers, and for the teacher retirement system. The way we do it is the same way that we added new funding for building roads in the state of Texas. Understand this, we put together a plan that ensures that Texas is providing more than $7.5 billion a year to build more roads in the state of Texas, and we did that by constitutionally dedicating funds to pay for that. I submit that we do the exact same strategy with regard to teacher pay and education funding and property tax reform, and that is we constitutionally dedicate funds that are flowing into the state of Texas. You probably saw the news recently that Texas has additional money than we anticipated because our economy has been growing so strong. We have additional sales tax revenue as well as additional revenue from the oil and gas severance tax. Those are revenues we're going to be able to take, and I submit the first place we should spend them is to pay our teachers more, improve our schools, and to reduce property taxes.
Okay, and that's good for all Texans. Well, lawmakers will also be looking to make our schools safer. And so, Governor, you held a roundtable discussion after the deadly school shooting in Santa Fe, at Santa Fe High School, of course, and a couple of bills focus on placing armed marshals in schools. So how effective do you think that would be in stopping another massacre?
Well, first and most importantly, we must address school safety for our students. Schools are places for students to learn, not to be in fear, and we will address this session. But also importantly, even before the session has begun, many of the 40 policy proposals that I announced earlier last year, after I had 3 days of roundtables, have already been implemented. But I will tell you the lead project that legislators are focusing on is to make sure we do a better job of addressing mental health needs of our students, knowing that there are proven programs in school districts across the state of Texas that have reduced violence in schools, been able to remove kids from class that may pose a potential threat or danger, as well as provide mental health treatment to students who needed it. So this is a very positive program that a lot of legislators are already supporting.
Well, Governor Abbott, thank you for joining us this evening. We appreciate your time and your insight.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you.